Hey y'all, and welcome to my making podcast. My name is Marlene, and this is my knitting podcast that I kind of extended to be a knitting, sewing, and spinning podcast within the last year. I started my podcast almost 2 years ago, and this is not a regular episode like a project roundup, but a special episode with the topic of small gifts and decoration knitting for the holiday. I know that starting early with your gift knitting can be a huge help in accomplishing all the things that you want to knit for yourself and your loved ones. So I thought it might be nice to do it early. This also means that holiday knitting is more of a broader kind of idea. It doesn't just have to be Christmas, but I just wanted to kind of extend it to any holiday that you might celebrate, being religious or personal or made up for you and your friends. If it's a birthday that's coming up to the end of the year, if it's New Year's related, whatever holiday that might be around. I actually looked up holidays from now till the end of the year, but I won't be getting into too much detail. You know what you're celebrating, so I just wanted to kind of do a roundup of different categories of decoration and gift knitting. This all came about since my members and I have decided on doing a holiday related knit along. From now on till the end of the year, this will be our first knit along together. So I thought it might be nice to share some ideas of things that I have knitted as gifts in the past or as decorations. So I have a few things with me here, but then also I have a list of things that I still want to knit as decorations or gift. And yeah, I just wanted to talk about the things that I have knitted within the last couple of years, but then also that I have added to this bundle more recently. You can find the bundle in the description box. It is like on my Ravelry profile, and I hope this will inspire some knitting for you as well. This idea for the knit along actually comes from one of my members, Sarah, and she suggested this theme in our Discord. So thank you so much, Sarah. Yeah, it's been really nice to exchange ideas for this knit along in our Discord channel. And if you also want to knit for anyone can do this, obviously, but like I said, we also have a mini knit along going until the rest of the year. So I wanted to put this video out kind of early-ish so that folks could knit for whatever holiday was coming up. And then also we all know that it can get quite stressy at the end of the year when a lot of the big holidays are coming up and we want to get those last projects finished. And then also there's, if you do participate in that, there's Advent knitting. Some people choose to knit something like on something every day. Some people have Advent calendars and stuff like that. And so yeah, it might just be a bit of a stressful time. So I like to start early. I have compiled a list of different categories. I have my notes here, so please don't mind me looking at them from time to time. And since I wasn't able to share all the patterns that I have linked in the bundle, you can check them out there. I think I've mentioned that before. So if you're interested in even more patterns, the bundle is a lot bigger than what I will be able to share within the upcoming maybe half an hour of this video. So I wanted to start with possibly my favorite category, which is autumn decorations. I know autumn specifically isn't a holiday, but it's my favorite season. And there are some holidays that are in that kind of time bracket. If you're in the US, there is Thanksgiving, things like that. This is a gifts and decoration video, so I thought it would be okay to do this, though some of the things I have knitted that are fall themed are actually going on our Christmas tree. So it's kind of like a mashup, you know? So first of all, mushrooms. I love mushrooms and I have them in all shapes and sizes. These aren't knitted actually, they're felted, and we have them on our tree every single year. And to join them this year, I thought it might be nice to knit a few mushrooms. These I've actually only made, this one I've made last week, and I'm planning on making many more coming up to this Christmas season to join, like I said, the felted ornaments and some of the other things that we've got on our tree. I have linked at least 8 different patterns that you can use to make your own mushrooms. So there will be one for everyone, for every gauge. The Christmas toadstool, this pattern is called, that I have made. It is by the Ginger Cat Designs, and it's a free pattern. I have used fingering weight held double and stuffed it with some ends, just like whenever I cut ends on my sweaters, I have put them in here. So yeah, I'll be definitely making more of these little guys. They're perfect for like those tiny leftover sock yarns, and all the little scraps, like 2-3 grams that I have left over whenever I put my scraps into my blankets. And so I will be making a few more. I think it fits in really well. I'll probably redo the like the loop in which I'll hang it. I have used some kind of thread for some of my other knitted ornaments that is more like it looks like those wrapping cords that you can put on Christmas gifts as well. So I'll probably redo that as kind of preliminary how I did it now. But yeah, mushrooms are my first category, and like I said, I have linked a ton, and this is the Christmas toadstool, which originally looked like a what's the English word for that? A Fliegenpilz. It's a red one with those white speckles. It's a toxic mushroom. Not sure what the English word for it is actually. But yeah, I made it to be more of a general forest mushroom, if that is even a word. I'm not a mushroom expert. I just love the look of them. So next up is the Acorn account by Roving and Mirth. This is a pattern I made with my friend last autumn. This I have made with scraps from my friend Marla. We did a little knitting date last autumn where we made these, and the pattern was actually cheaper than €1 or $1. So this isn't yeah, too expensive at all. Obviously you could come up with these things on your own if you didn't want to pay for them, but I think it was well worth my euro to invest in this and be told what to do. We also stuffed it, I think, with some leftover yarn. It's funny that you can kind of pick up the cap from the acorn. I think that's super cute, and I loved having this on my on our Christmas tree last year. So acorns, I would definitely recommend making some. It's cute and like autumnal themed, but I don't know, I like having that kind of forest whimsical, yeah, kind of knitty core on my Christmas tree, and so this fits in just perfectly. And then another one that is actually Halloween themed, so perfect for the fall. I have not made it, but it's in the bundle, and it's called the Spooky Boo Ghost Garland by See Love Share. And you can get this pattern for free through their website, or you can pay $5 on Ravelry to buy it and get the PDF pattern. It's written for bulky weight yarn, and I reckon you could use whatever really, if it's cotton yarn that you have left over or woolly yarn. And I think it might be a great kind of stash busting project for those white yarns that you don't really know what to make with. They're not interesting enough to make other scrappy project with, but they might just be perfect for your spooky ghost garland for Halloween. So that is my third kind of autumn themed project. Coming up next is smallish gifts for knit-worthy people in your life. I've in the past made Sophie scarves, DK to worsted weight socks, and hot water bottle covers, as well as hats and scrunchies for people in my life. So my recommendations personally for small gift knits would be the Sunday socks. I'm going to put in a picture because I don't want to go to my partner's sock drawer and take them out and show you. And all the other ones I have gifted to people that aren't living close enough to my house, so I couldn't get them. But I took many pictures, so I'll show them here. The pattern is by Petite Knit. It is a, like I said, decayed worsted weight sock yarn or 8-ply, and I've used the Sandnes Garn Perfect for mine. Most of the time 100 grams, so 2 skeins would be sufficient, even in the bigger sizes. So I've made the second biggest size for my partner. I still used just 2 of them, but shortened the leg by 5 centimeters, and it worked out perfectly. And his shoe size is 42 to 43 EU shoe size. And you can buy the pattern on Ravelry for, I think it's like 4 to 6 euros. But you could also try and come up with your own vanilla sock recipe, so you don't have to use the Sunday socks. I know that the Crazy Sock Lady has a free pattern for DK weight sock, which, as far as I know, would be considered like a 6-ply. I'm not always sure if 6-ply is more like a sport and then 8-ply is more of a worsted, but you could kind of play around and kind of come up with something on your own if you don't want to pay for the pattern. It is a relatively easy and vanilla-y sock pattern. Coming up next is the Hottie sweater by Paula Strict. It's a hot water bottle cover, and I've made it several times. I've gifted it to my mom before, and I have come up with a kind of small version for myself and a big one as well. These are both in my possession. This one was made with the alpaca boucle by Drops, and this one was made with the Gepard teddy deer. And as you can see, the boucle has kind of held up a lot better, the Gepard one, than the Drops one. I don't mind it. I mean, it gets warm quite a bit. It did felt a bit, I would say. The first time around, I didn't manage the the neck of the kind of sweater part, whereas with the second one I did. I was just a bit too lazy to read the description right the first time, but then when I did, I was like, whoa, that wasn't too bad. I always think that Paula Strict's pattern have a lot of detail, which I'm not always sure is necessary for myself. Like personally, it's not always my preferred way of reading patterns. But then again, when I was just following her instructions, it went perfectly. And I actually use this a ton, especially if I have to put it kind of like in my neck or just on my tummy, even put it like in my pajama pants when I'm having cramps. This is a lot lighter to carry around than this one. So I like them both. I've gifted one before. I highly recommend them. There are other patterns too. I know there's one from, I know there's one that isn't written for bulky weight, but I think for DK, I will link it in the bundle. I don't remember who published it, but yeah, there are free versions out there. And then even some colorwork ones, which is my segue into another pattern. The Maxine hot water bottle cover. This is by Laura Penrose. I knitted this not too long ago as part of the new patchwork collection by Coast to Coast Yarn Co., who I'm an affiliate with. So this was kind of like a sample for that. And yeah, the yarn was gifted. I am planning on making a second one with some of the yarn in the small version. When I saw Laura post about this, I was really excited because I love my big one and I really wanted to make one for a special person in my life as a gift. And so I will be doing the small version as part of our knit along. Both are knitted with DK weight, though I used fingering held double for this. My tension is great on this one. Actually, it was a great pattern to practice a bit more my colorwork skills, and I think it got better. It's great tension, if I say so myself, and I really like this project. It didn't take too long. Obviously, I was really hyped and excited to knit this. First of all, because I wanted to see how the colors would work up, and I was very excited for that pre-order, which there will be another round of pre-orders sometime in November or December. So if you're watching this closer to date, keep your eyes open and look out for Erin maybe announcing something like this. And if you want to, you can use my link, my affiliate link, to support both Erin and I if there is and when there is another round of pre-orders. But coming back to the pattern, I did knit this, I would say in like 3 days maybe, and I'm pretty sure I can knit the smaller version in a pretty like kind of fast time frame as well. I've actually ordered some small, they're also by this Fasci, I think is the brand, some hot water bottles to have them as gifts, and I actually found them in like pastel colors to match the yarn that I will be using. Unfortunately, I had to buy them through Amazon, which I don't often do, but if you would like to use them as well, I'll leave a link and maybe you'll be able to find them somewhere else. But yeah, I don't want to buy hot water bottles that are in like a cover already and then throw away the cover. So for me, it was either going to one of our drugstores around town and doing that, or buying off Amazon and getting them without the cover for a reasonable price. So whenever they arrive in time, I'll link them here, or I'll post a picture here and then link them, and maybe I'll even be able to finish the small version and link it or put a picture here. But if not so, you'll see it on my Instagram and Ravelry in time. And check out the pattern, like it's really nice. Laura did an amazing job with it, and she also has now come out, or has she come out with it yet, or is it still tested? But she's doing a turtleneck sweater with those motifs as well, and I love it because it's kind of quilty, you know, so obviously love it. And lastly, in this category of small gifts would be scrunchies. This was actually a gift. I didn't make this myself. It was a gift by my friend Lydia, who's also the designer behind this scrunchie pattern. So I wanted to mention 2 scrunchie patterns. For example, or first of all, this one, it's the croissant scrunchie by Lydia Hood. It is designed for any gauge, though I think she mostly, or testers or people who've made this, mostly used a fingering and a mohair, or like any lace weight. It's perfect for scraps as well. Hers has kind of like the trim or like the feature around it, whereas the Soho scrunchie by Tori Yu is more rounded. I haven't looked into that, but it's free as well and also designed for any gauge, so you have a few options. I've also seen some with bobbles, so there are scrunchies out there. And I have knitted and gifted a croissant scrunchie last year for Christmas already, so I know that it's a relatively quick knit. I used a baby blue yarn because I was told that the person who I was knitting for, that was their favorite color. So I think it's a great way to kind of knit a small thing for someone and say, hi, I love you, or you're important to me, and I chose your favorite color, you know? So I think it's a really cute gift to make for someone. The next category would be Christmas decorations, and there are a few. I gotta start with one of my favorites, which is the Tiny Tree Socks. It uses fingering weight yarn, and it's by Summer Lee Designs. I've used sock yarn for this, which I think is actually perfect, again, for those small little ends that you don't really know what to do with. And again, I use this like cord that you would, or I in other ways, in other scenarios, would put around the gift itself. You could actually also put this on a gift if it's maybe if you've bought a book for someone and you want a little ornament to kind of put on the book. In the past, I've used like dried orange slices to kind of wrap around the books or other gifts with this cord as well. And so I think a little ornament like this would be perfect as well. Next category is pretty close. It's also a garment to put on the tree, and it's the mini crop puff sweater. Actually, when I started doing these 2 years ago for Christmas, I hadn't heard of the mini crop puff, so I used a different one, which was these Harry Potter ones. It isn't a real like pattern on Ravelry, but it was more of a YouTube tutorial. But then last year I decided to make a mini crop puff as well, and I just think it's a bit more kind of well proportioned for the tree as well. But both of them are going on our trees, and both of them actually belong to my partner. They're not mine anymore because I gifted them to him. So these are them. I started this tradition of gifting him a sweater quantity of yarn and a mini sweater for Christmas, and then knitting him the sweater the year, like the following year. Yeah, so the first year wasn't as perfect yet. I wasn't using the yarn that I was then knitting the sweater with, but it doesn't have to be perfect, you know. I'm just saying that I think I like this pattern a bit more, and I like using the yarn that I'm then going to knit the sweater in. And I'm really wanting to make more mini crop puff sweaters, especially with stripes. I've seen some like that, and I really like it. Maybe do a bit of color work. I wanted to show you that I have actually also cast on just yesterday Hannah's stick season sweater, which was the promise keeper. This was the promise keeper for this. So I have started it. I'm actually wearing my own today, and I can see us during the holidays wearing them, taking cute pictures, and just being super cozy in our stick seasons. So this was the motivation behind making these, kind of as promise keepers, but then also as tree ornaments. This one is by Geraldine Yang. It's free on Ravelry, which I think is great. But then also, if you want to follow a tutorial, you may be newer knitter like I was when I was knitting this, or more so, then YouTube tutorials are great as well. And yeah, I could have also put on with duplicate stitch an H, because it is not just Harry Potter but also Hannah's, my partner, so an H would have been fun. So yeah, I think they're super cute. So sweaters, little sweaters. Next up would be mitten ornaments. I found these on Ravelry. They're from Brooklyn Tweed, and they're also designed for any gauge. I thought they were just the cutest, and I could see myself breaking it up if I've knitted enough of these sweaters and socks. I thought mittens would be nice as well, and then also to put maybe on some gifts as a little extra gift. And lastly, I have the Scrap Buster Holiday Light Garland by Carla D. T. Fisher. That is another pattern I found on my Ravelry search. I think it would be fantastic for scraps as well. It is designed for worsted weight gauge, but then again, for things like this, I think gauge doesn't matter as much as long as the kind of structural integrity is given, and it's not like see-through, or it doesn't flop around, like as long as it's kind of stiff enough, which I think these things kind of have to be a bit more stiffer than like maybe garments that we would wear. That's the same with these. They're more knitted on like a sock gauge, like a very tight gauge. And I think the Scrap Buster Holiday Light Garland, it is such a cute look. I'm not sure if I would make something like this myself, but I think a garland would be so great, or like beautiful to make one day. It is a free pattern, so that is also pretty amazing. And yeah, that is my last Christmas decoration. I know there are many more out there, but I just thought it would be nice to kind of give a little roundup of patterns that I myself have used and that have worked for me very well. Like a lot of these things I would highly recommend, or all of these things actually that I have mentioned. And then again, there are some in there that I haven't made myself, but I would love for you, if you've used the patterns or made them yourself before, if you could share your feedback like on the patterns, or if they've turned out the way you hope they would, in the comment section down below. I would also love to know what you're planning on knitting as gifts or for the upcoming holidays that are from now up until the end of the year, whatever you're celebrating and what you're planning on knitting for that occasion, if it's something for yourself, because I don't think that it has to be gift knitting per se. I know that I want to make myself a Christmas sweater after finishing Hannah's sweater for this year. And I'm just excited for all these little knitting projects that I have planned and going on. Feel free to check out the bundle for more inspiration, for more decoration and gift knitting ideas. I have linked a few things that I feel are really like traditional Christmas gifts, kind of like DK socks and these like mittens or gloves, as well as stockings. I love stockings, but we have these wonderful sewn ones. They're actually from, I think it's Sustri and Agrena, so they're not handmade. I wish they were, but they're not, but we already have some, so I don't need to knit some. But I think it's also a nice idea to make some stocking. Like I said, check out the bundle. There's more information linked there. I wanted to keep this video relatively short and sweet, so I hope you enjoyed this one. If you're new to the channel, go check out my other videos, and if you like the video, I would love for you to like it and subscribe to see more similar content than this. I usually do, like I said, making podcasts, talking about my knitting, spinning, sewing, and other creative adventures. I love coffee and making sourdough bread and going on yarny travel adventures and hiking and reading and spending time with my friends. So that's a bit about me, a little bio at the end. So feel free to subscribe if you like this content, and I hope to see you here next time around. Bye.